Sis Bates. We just need to bring in Sis Bates. She will replace JP Crawford. It'll be fine.
I don't hate that plan.
Nice. Welcome back to Mariner Mondays. I'm going to figure out how to split this. You're going to get part Brittany, part Jake. And I are recording Sunday night. That's why the Bills and the Ravens are playing right now. The Mariners have to get back to the main subject of topic. The Seattle Mariners Baseball Club LLC that's run by mustaches, uh, Ben Rainieri. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right. I
I don't
know.
know either.
Whenever I see Ben, I just see like Rainier the beer
Mm-hmm.
because I just add an I. Um, and I will start the episode off by mentioning Steven on Twitter. His username is at not B0BR055, who went and paid an Etsy witch um the other day to we're gonna use the swear word early here, Brittany. Unfuck the Mariners, I believe is what was in the description. If I can go and find it. Yeah.
Which
Spell by
I have
Luna.
so many questions about what that means. Like, does that mean a spell was cast, or does that mean like a reverse spell was cast? Because, or like a spell was cast to reverse. I don't know. I'm very confused as to what that means. I
The
wish
inner machinations here. Get Spell by Luna on the show. Be like,
we need.
hey,
I was gonna say we need to get Luna on the show. Actually,
here's
that's
the
good.
full wish. My wish is that the Seattle Mariners can get their act together and start winning baseball games again, and hopefully make their way to the World Series and win. Hey, you could have just stopped after the again winning baseball games part, but I don't disagree. I know this seems like a little much, but hey, Spell by Luna gave Steven a discount. There's a $4 discount in here. So,
Ooh, for what? I wonder.
um, yeah, that was on the 6th. They've gone 2-0 since then and decided to actually hit the baseball and do the whole bit where they get all the runs by homering, you know.
Yep.
Um, and the main reason I'm bringing this up is that people wanted to pay Steven back for doing this. And instead, Steven said no. Instead of doing that, I'd rather that you donate to the Trevor Project instead. And a bunch of Mariners fans on Twitter, Sarah at Saz underscore the man, Ken's at all the Kens, who's actually a fan of CSS, a fan, friend of CSS, tagged us. And so I said, yeah, sure. Well, no, tagged me personally. I was like, no, we're doing this on the main account. And so I've decided that this is all my own money, by the way. I'm not like taking Brit. I'm like, Brittany, give me your money so that I can donate it to charitable causes.
It's a good
Um,
cause, though. I mean, as someone who works in mental health, like that is one of the better nonprofits that you can give your money to.
so after every Mariners series win, I'm gonna make a donation. I know people are making five. I uh, did a few multiples of that because I thought it was a great idea. So we're gonna be doing that um, going forward. That'll be very cool. Hopefully there's a lot of winning so that we can donate a lot of money going forward. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because it's pretty cool. And it's so funny how baseball fans, not just Mariner fans, right? Because the Mets had Grimace last year. The Mets have had a lot of folk heroes, it seems. It's just interesting to see how fans get through the course of a 162 game season. And the Mariners fans needed a lifeline. Who knows also if the Etsy Witch is also just like Mike Cameron in a wig, because Mike Cameron was in Atlanta, apparently saging it up. Um, uh, 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 Ken's, who I mentioned, right, said that she was in Atlanta for the series, and she was in the Tampa Bay for the Rays series and Atlanta for the Braves series, and said that the vibe is totally different from what she can see from the Rays to the Braves series. So she was texting me, it's like, maybe it's just Mike Cameron. I'm like, being around Mike Cameron before and having met him, I don't think that's the crazy thing to say. So the power of mustaches, Mike Cameron, and Nancy Witch, and Ben Ranieri. There you go. It just took that. Brittany, we'll actually get to talking about the team now. Um, yeah, that road trip, man. I mean, you said it ahead of the Cleveland series, or I think after the first game of the Cleveland series, you mentioned how this can get disastrous. Um, they get swept by the Rays down in that Mickey Mouse ballpark. First one was just ugly. They lose the second one by a run. The third one just gets away from them as well. Then they go down to Atlanta and lose the first game, and you're on a four-game losing streak. And you think, oh shit, this is also an Atlanta team that has vastly underperformed the talent on their roster. They lost that game. I didn't realize also that first game, Ronald Acuna Jr. was on the bench. I don't know if it was a rest day or what. I don't. I just thought that was fascinating.
Hmm.
And then they put up 28 runs compared to Atlanta's four for the course of the next two games to get the series win.
28 runs, right?
What did I say?
20.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant 28. I guess, low number. I guess I'm still fascinated by the fact that they outscored the Seahawks today. That's another
So
topic
sore
for a
subject over here.
different show. Um, yeah, Bryce Miller and Luis Castillo,
Yeah.
two guys who, maybe down the stretch haven't been the most, I don't know, reliable seems harsh, but maybe it's somewhat reality, right? Um,
Yeah, I mean one is
Injured.
one is injured and one is old, so for different reasons. But I think reliable, yeah, is a fair. That's fair.
Um, so I don't know. Before we get into some like the main topics, I feel like because so much of this road trip was just bad, and I don't think you can just fully after the two games say, "Hey, they're back." They bludgeoned an Atlanta team that's been bad this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
The real test. I don't know. I'm not like you don't want to disregard what's upcoming this homestand, but they really need to take care of business over the course of this 7 game homestand. The real thing that I think everybody will be looking at and I'm hoping they don't look ahead to, is the road trip that you will be in Kansas City for.
I will be.
Um, Kansas City and the hell that is Kauffman Stadium, um, and Houston, including
Yep.
the game on the 21st that's been upgraded to Sunday Night Baseball, the series and road trip finale. Um, and even if I was looking at this at the Husky football game on Saturday night when the Dodgers blew their no hitter and lost that game, so many of us saw that this schedule, right, and saw the Dodgers as the last series of the year, and thought, "Hey, they will not need that. They might need that series. That
The
will,
Dodgers, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean the Padres are on their ass and they've been playing bad relative for them. So it
yeah. They're separated by a game right now, so you know, um, it's not shaping up to be a carefree like skip into the playoffs. Never, no one ever said it
no.
was going to be that, but it's just more daunting when you're in the situation of it all. Um, I don't know. What did the Mariners tell you about themselves over the course of this past week? I know you've been wrapped up in some things, but from
Yeah,
what you've been able to see, before we get into the usage of Harry Ford and other things, I don't know. Did they tell you anything specific about
uh,
themselves over the course of the past week?
that they're tired. They're
Yeah.
really tired, and I I struggle walking that line of it shouldn't be an excuse and no, it shouldn't. But also they've had a handful of really tough road trips travel wise as of late down the stretch. And they have a handful of guys who have played a ton of baseball games this year. Cal, being the main one, has played a ton. Um, it's tough because you don't want to bench him when he's doing what he's doing, but he's exhausted. I mean, I've very much was in and out of watching games this whole week just because of some personal stuff and work stuff going on. But every time I tune in, I'm just like, oh yeah, he's dog tired. And you can see that in the way he's swinging the bat right now. Now, um, will he come out of it? Probably, because he's Cal. But Randy has played a ton. Julio has played
Yeah.
a ton. JP has played a ton. So I do think they were really tired. Now, is it part of the deal and part of 162 and you got to find a way through it? Yeah. And hopefully that's what they've just done here and they can build off these last two games where they absolutely took it to a very oddly weak Atlanta team. And getting home and sleeping in their own beds, I hope helps. But yeah, I think it told me that they're dog tired right now. Um, I don't know if I'm ready to draw any definitive conclusions about whether or not they're going to get to the postseason or completely fumble it because it's baseball. I mean, like you said, we just watched the Dodgers lose a game in walk-off fashion that through 8 and 2/3 innings, they were no hitting the Orioles and they lost and got walked off. So baseball's weird. I mean, the Diamondbacks are like kind of back in wild card possibility, and they sold at the
Really?
deadline. Like they came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it's kind of like, well, they're not going to, right? They won't, but they could. So yeah, I think this is a tired ball team, and
Oh
I think
yeah.
they need to figure it right.
Um,
I think they need to figure out who is in charge of injecting life back into that team because I'm not sure that that's the kind of manager Dan Wilson is.
mm,
Um, I could be wrong on that. That's just the vibe that I get. I don't think it's Cal because he's doing enough for you as it is, and he's exhausted. Is it Victor Robles? That's one of the things you didn't mention either. Is they're now 2-0 since he returned? Is it Victor maybe?
I get five things. Victor in his neon pink wrist arm sleeves. Well, in downplaying the Cardinals, didn't realize they are the same amount of games out of a wild card spot as the Diamondbacks are. So they
Kind
are
of
also
interesting
not
how that happened, huh?
fading into oblivion,
Yeah.
as I would have hoped. Um, yeah. So yeah, Victor's back. Like to go on to Victor here, by the way. Uh, Dom Canzone, I'm going to use this word again, and I used it to describe Emerson Hancock, and people were weird about it. Dom Canzone, during the time that he was playing right field consistently, was perfectly serviceable for you. He had
Yeah.
a pretty decent stretch. He served his purpose. But, you know, on a given day, if I'm Dan Wilson, so I'm taller and I do have hair now. And I need to pick the best lineup, and I'm not giving a fuck about splits. Victor Robles is the right fielder 9.9 times out of 10. Love Luke Rayleigh. What also worried me was Ryan Divish reported, and I'm going to reference other folks because we do not travel. We do not have the big bunny budget for that. Budget? Yep, I can speak English.
Yeah.
Um, Divish said that Rayleigh mentions every once in a while he feels pain uh, where he tore his oblique, which
That is not shocking to me at all. In fact, like it was
that's
probably
not great.
last weekend, I said something to my boyfriend about Luke doesn't look right. He looks like he's favoring his core when he swings. And I does not surprise me to hear that. And I think that's really affecting him.
It's also interesting. Um, it was I think it was before the middle game of the Atlanta series. Um, where they were working out Jorge Polanco at first.
Oh my God.
Uh, and people were worried is about Josh Naylor, and I understand, obviously, that's understandable. But I didn't really worry so much because last year they worked out Mitch Garver at first base when they were doing their infield drills. And so it was like, this is a contingency plan. This is an emergency, like, and I wonder if it's more related to Luke Rayleigh and his injury than it is anything else. Um, I just, hey, Cal's on Sports Center right now. There you go.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
him and that mustache. Yeah, so touched on Victor. Oh wow, they even have a little big dumper truck graphic. That's fun. There you go. There's some respect for him.
Good.
And his
He
weird
needs to be back on
mustache.
Sports Center. That's good.
The shell of what Sports Center is.
Oh.
yeah, with Victor, like just who he is, being around him. I know Brittany, you've seen a little bit around him when you've been at the ballpark. What he just him running around, being loud. Victor is loud in a myriad of ways. So that could be
You
it.
hear him before
Someone
you see him.
you do, you really
Yeah.
do. Um, so yeah, that's I'm sure that's going to be very helpful, and especially when they get home, a building that obviously they've played their best baseball in the last few months. Victor will feed off that, right? And the guys will have to feed off of that, as they already have been. And I'm really looking forward to it. Mike Cameron also, we're going to reference Cammy again, said that, you know, he wants people to show up for these two homestands. And they're the last two homestands of the year with, the best lineup the Mariners have had in my lifetime? Question mark. You
Okay, well,
know,
that's not saying much. You haven't been alive very long.
okay, uh, 20 years is still a good amount of time. You get what I'm saying though,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
even in the games in April, when no one wants to be out there and it's cold as shit, the building can get loud. So you imagine it when it's 40 plus. The Mariners do have a pretty good record this year, actually, when they play in front of a crowd of 40 plus thousand. That was in the Mariners game notes a few months ago.
Nice.
Um, so, you know, get out there, first of all. But yeah, no. To go to the tired thing, it is interesting because for some of these guys, unfortunately, I don't know how you're gonna fix it. Like Julio, I think, because yeah, Divish did post an article about how many games these guys have played, and I think Julio was leading with 139. Randy was right behind him with
Wow.
138 at the time. Cal had 137. Um,
That's a lot of games.
especially with how good he is defensively. Um, and how he's been hitting in the second half. I'm sorry, you can't take him out. I don't think he wants to be out. We know how the competitor he is, right? But like, if you're blowing him out like tonight, today in Atlanta, sure, get him out of there. Figure it out. Um, but you can't really afford to give him off days. Randy, not as much. Not defensively, right? But like who else are you playing in left? Sure, Luke, but again, we just mentioned him, and feeling the oblique. But with Cal, and I know this goes into the Harry Ford discourse now. We need our resident catcher here to talk about this. It's interesting because it seems like, at least through trying to read off of the reports again, it's difficult when we're not there, and I can't ask these people around us to like make it work in my tiny squirrel brain. It seems like the plan for Harry Ford is effectively to, kind of be the emergency catcher. Brittany, we talked about it off camera about how they do these two catchers lineups where Mitch catches or DH, either one of them, right? And the situation where, you might lose a catcher. So I don't know. What do you make of the whole conundrum here with Harry? Because I'm like, hey, this is a guy who he's not bad on either side of the plate. I'm not saying he's a great MLB hitter because he's just gotten up here, but there really aren't too many deficiencies in his game that we've seen. It's not like some catchers where you said, okay, like Basalo, I don't think is a great defensive catcher for Baltimore, but
Mhm.
his bat's there, and I think the plan is to get the bat out there. It's not like that with Harry, is my point. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? Because it's just difficult to bring him up and have him sit here, uh,
Yeah.
especially considering, you want to get a guy like Cal rest. His bat's too valuable to just sit in multiple games, but you have to wonder when you work that in. Because ideally you get to the postseason, you don't want him burnt out there. I don't know. What do you make of
Yeah.
Harry Ford?
I
Oh,
don't know if I'm gonna have the best answer for this. Um, I'm hearing cheering. Did something just happen?
the Bills walked it off.
Oh, I'm gonna give Eric so much shit later. Oh, I can't wait. That's great. Love that for them. Love Josh Allen. Josh Allen stan over here. Um, so here's the thing. I kind of had a feeling this was always going to be the plan if they were going to make it to the playoffs because that it they I mean the last time they were in the playoffs, granted 2022, but they had three catchers on their roster, right? They had Cal, they had Murph, and they had Luis
Oh yeah.
Torrens. And there was a lot of conversation about like should Luis Torrens be like what why, and um
Should Luis
and then they even
Torres
had Brian O'Keefe up and down for a little bit.
at
And
the
so
end?
this has
Yeah.
kind of been honestly last year when they were running out just Garv and Cal and so frequently running them out in the same lineup, I was like, this feels very out of character for this team. This doesn't feel like something that they do because they have been the type historically to kind of have that contingency plan and not have that risk of only having two catchers on your roster and running them both out in the same lineup. We saw it when Luis Castillo had to take an at bat. What
Nah.
can happen when one of those players gets hurt? Like, not great. And so I would imagine this was always kind of part of the plan because they are anticipating being in the playoffs. And I don't think they're going to go into playoffs with just two catchers on their roster. Um, Garver's, what did you say his OPS against lefties was? 770?
770.
So he's hitting lefties, right? Um, Now the
Yeah,
argument could be
please.
made, well, Harry Ford has reverse splits. Yeah, in minor leagues. We don't know what he can do at the major league level yet. And so I think they view this as an opportunity to get him a cup of coffee, get him a little comfortable, have him see some big league pitching, right? And have that contingency plan so they can feel more comfortable running it out in the manner that they have. I understand the emotional reactions of like, well, Harry could have done, what Garver did. Like, I think there was a play at the plate and there was some reactions to that because Garver dropped the ball or missed the tag or something like that. I hear that. And also, you don't necessarily know that Harry can make that play yet, right? When we saw him get his first major league at bat, granted, it was a terrible spot to put him in. I 100% agree with that. Not a good spot to put him in. But he swung at three sliders and was out, right? So, like, this assumption that he's just ready to go and he should be playing over Mitch Garver and, like, utilized more. I don't think that was ever part of the plan. Like, yes, Mitch Garver has his flaws, especially for the amount of money that he is being paid. That is well documented. We know that. He also has, what, 7 years of MLB service time? And you probably feel way more comfortable with him catching in a Houston best of three series than Harry Ford. Like, is that crazy to say?
Mm.
I feel better with Mitch Garver back there than the kid.
Yeah.
The
I,
experience, like the veteran presence. He's been with these pitchers now for 2 years.
that too. Yeah. I mean, it's just I am not at all on the like throw him in there now. This is not the time to do that. I think I've said it on the show. I'm like, hey, ride out the Mitch Garver contract this year, get Harry in there next year, and like I think that'll be more fun next year. You've got Cal and what he can do, and then you've got a
Yeah.
catcher who's athletic who will steal more bases and
Uh-huh.
um I think we've mentioned it on the show lately, but there were times where it seemed like Mitch was having trouble handling some of the velocity and the stuff that some of these guys have.
Yeah.
Harry shouldn't have that problem. Um, you know, but yeah, in times like that, well, Mitch Garver has won a World Series, by the way, has been in those situations, has been in the postseason. I'm not saying he was Mitch Garver of 2 years ago now.
No.
Um, but yeah, no, my thing is, I do think it would be more optimal to try and get him some situations so that, God forbid, something happens. You
Right.
get to, knock on wood, we
Knock
get to
on
the
wood.
ALCS. Mitch Garver can't go.
Yeah.
And then it's all right, Harry. You like we need I don't know if they'd call him up because that's where it gets interesting. Because it's all in an interesting situation. You can't just throw him in the DH because Jorge's hitting. You also, could say, hey, Jorge's playing second base because Cole Young has struggled heavily down the stretch, right? That's fine. I don't think any of us expected him to be playing as much as he has this year, back in spring training, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
um, but you know, is is he a better DH option right now if we're playing the Jorge lineup at second, when Cal's catching? It's not a, I, no, I'd rather have Mitch in there. Mitch Garver, who tripled today, by the way.
yeah. That was thought I was
So
having a fever dream there.
it is interesting, right? Like again, my
Yeah.
big thing is I'm not the person saying, yeah, just throw him in there over Mitch. He's 1,000% better because that's just not the reality of the situation. I'm just wondering if you can optimize this now where you do have him on the roster
Hmm.
and find situations for it. Like
Yeah.
people brought up that Rays series when they were getting thumped.
He should have been in
Why aren't
there.
we trying it? Yeah,
Yes, 100%. That would have been an ideal
that's
place to
my
throw him in
thing,
there. Yep.
right?
Get Cal off his feet. 100%. That's when that should have happened.
So that's my big thing with that. The other, did you have anything else on that, by the way, before I go to the other roster moves that happened? Because we let go of the great Donovan Solano in there.
We did. That's right. We did. RIP.
But you've got
It's,
anything else on Harry, or you're good?
no, I don't.
Okay. Oh, these roster moves go into the other different things about guys being tired, at least to me, because Leo Rivas is here. God bless Leo Rivas.
Love
Another
it.
Ben. This is like the fourth Ben Rainieri shout out. Ben really started it, and I like went and talked to Leo about it. About being a certified pain in the ass. He's not
Yeah.
an easy plate appearance for pitchers. And I don't want to have this conversation until the off season,
I know where you're going.
but I think it's fair to bring up.
It
What
is.
are you doing with JP Crawford?
Yeah.
I don't think JP was mentioned in this article by Divish, but he hasn't exactly. Last year his season was tough because he missed so much time due to injury, right? He's played 100 and wait, nope, that was his hits number. Sorry, baseball reference. Why would you do this to me? Played 138 games now, so yeah, he's in that area with them. He just, he did have some moments throughout the course of the year. I know early in the episodes of this show we talked about, hey, is the 23 year going to be an illusion? I think it's safe to say that it was. Um, but just some of the defensive plays, he's not the defender he was,
No, he's
you
not.
know.
Yeah, he's
Um,
slowed down quite a lot. And I will say when JP is healthy and feeling good, that's where we see 2023-esque JP. He gets worn down throughout the season. And we see this pretty continually with him. Where, he starts making diving plays at shortstop and he's really slow to get up, right? Whether it's the knees or whatever it is that's bothering him, I don't know, but it definitely starts to seem like he slows down a little bit as he takes the bumps and bruises of the season. When he's good and feeling healthy, like that is a real fun ball player to watch, right? I mean, we were all on the JB should be an all-star train this earlier this year, because he had played that well. Time comes for us all, unfortunately.
what?
Age and yeah, and he wears down. And so honestly, I was kind of surprised they didn't call Leo up sooner to give JP some time and a blow here and there, because it just looked like he was done, like out of gas, honestly.
Yeah, it's like with the struggles that Dylan was having,
Oh
just kind of
yeah.
said, "Hey, this is a guy who's actually performing at the plate. It's not like Harry where you aren't sure if he's actually going to be able to perform at the big league level." I'm not saying Leo Rivas was the greatest player of all time, but even when he got sent down, people were kind of like, "Hey, he's not doing bad," you know.
No,
Um,
no.
I will say about JP. his bat over the year hasn't been bad. He's hitting 264 and he's rocking a 711 OPS on the season. Over his last 7 games, he is hitting 400, a mighty 400 slug. um, so I mean that's not
Yeah.
horrible, but he is striking out a good bit over the last month, which I don't love. I don't know. It just does make me wonder. Um, about it because yeah, his defense just some of the plays, and I think maybe some of it might have been accentuated by the losses they were in, but just balls that were hit right at him, and he boots them, and I'm like, hey, I'm not
Yeah.
asking you to make the big like leaping falling away play that you made that kind
Right.
of puts you on the map. I
Yeah.
This is a somewhat routine play, especially for a guy who's had gold before.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
think
it's
he's really hurting when he boots those balls. I think that is like a symptom of he's favoring something. Uh,
mm, yeah.
that is kind of what I feel like. He wears those knee pads under his pants. They like honestly look um like the kind of they have like a little circle. They honestly look like the softball sliding pads that we used to wear when we wore shorts um, back in like the 90s before you were born. Um, but yeah, I think because he really like those knees start to take a beating over over time. Um, the slower he is to get up after diving at shortstop, that's my measure for him of like how is he doing right now health wise. And when it takes like when they've like thrown the ball in from the outfield, right? And like they're getting ready, the broadcast is getting ready for the next shot, and JP's still lying at shortstop, like slowly getting up. I'm like, oh yeah, he's not doing great right now.
it's just interesting. Yeah, that because health is obviously something to think about. His contract's up after next season.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
he's how old are you now? I'm not saying he's
30,
old. Oh, he's 30.
30, 30. Okay.
He's 31 in January. I don't know. I don't imagine that the Mariners would be super thrilled at signing him to a long-term extension. I don't know if they'd give him a bridge. I don't know if he'd want to take a bridge, right? Because it feels
Yeah.
like, with some of the prospects, Colt Emerson might be 2 years away, is what
Yeah.
I've been, the kind of range I've talked to a few people about, you know. So I don't know. That's a whole other discussion for the off season to have.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I just think it's good to have Leo back up here. Um, you know, I like Leo Rivas a lot. He can play the middle infield spots. I don't know about third base. Um, but yeah, it means Donovan Solano's gone. We will all remember June Donovan Solano
Yeah.
and what that meant. But yeah, otherwise that puts another end to a guy that we all were kind of wondering how long he'd stay here. Um,
He lasted a lot longer than I thought he would,
oh
to be
yeah,
honest.
I mean, it felt like for a long time because of the money they'd allotted to him on that contract, which
Hmm.
in a normal world is not a lot of money,
Yeah.
but Seattle Mariners Baseball Club LLC had to take that into account. I just figured they're not gonna let him go, especially not early into the season, because they love the money and they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to, say, "Hey, we fucked up,"
Yeah.
especially because he was. I mean, did they sign anyone else out of free agency that wasn't someone they already had in Jorge Polanco?
Hmm.
So, um, yeah. Not too much on Luke Jackson. I mean, he finished the game off today.
He did. Yeah, that's right. I thought it was Chris Flexen out there. Confused
Oh
me
yeah,
for a
because he's
second.
rocking the 77. That
He's
is right.
rocking 77.
Um, yeah, so there's that.
Speaking
Then
of Jorge Polanco,
his vesting option.
that, which, hell yeah, good for him. And on this road trip from hell over let's see. It looks like he played, the last 8 games. 15th best WRC plus in all of baseball. 212 WRC plus, slugging 704. Him and Julio have kind of been keeping the offense afloat while they've been doing whatever the hell they've been doing. So shout out to Jorge.
What's his
That's
name?
awesome.
What's his name?
The greatest hitter of all time.
Jorge Polanco.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, what that vesting option? He reached his 450th plate appearance in the season, which earns him a $500,000 performance bonus and vested a $6 million play option in his contract for next year.
Good for him.
Um, you think he'll take it?
I don't know. I think he might.
It's interesting because I mean, I don't know. Again, this is another conversation for the offseason, right?
Yeah.
But what do you want the DH position to look like? Because, um, I feel pretty good giving Cole Young the reins to second base, unless you
Mhm.
decide to somehow they're not getting Ketel Marte. I think the Diamondbacks are like, we're done giving you players. No, 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 you can have him back.
Yeah.
People floated that idea. I just don't think they're gonna move him.
Well,
Um,
that and I don't think Jerry liked him,
yeah. Well, and
right?
then that would
My
be he's already made a few moves to say, okay, I fucked this up with, Solano. They got rid of
hmm
more, things that, I'm sure hurts them. But also like openly admitting they didn't want to trade Gino in the first place. They brought him back. I don't know how
wild.
much they can do with that unless, and maybe a different ownership group, if they've got more of a role. But
Yeah.
um, so and yeah, anyway, I'd give Cole Young, he's got a year under his belt. Let him work in the off season to adjust how he is and go from there because he's kind of been one of your guys that,
hmm
we looked at as a future of the position. I mean, what do you look at as the DH position? Are you happy just letting Jorge run that out? Because I mean, even in the quotes here that Divish had, talking about it. It's really big for me. The last couple of years, I haven't been able to get that many plate appearances. I feel really good. I feel really happy to just come back this year and be more healthy, and play in more games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's hit the ball pretty well. Um, obviously last year we talked so much about how much he was playing through the knee. Even had that stretch toward the end of the season where he was hitting the ball really hard, even though he was dealing with it. I don't know. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think at least in this point in time, unless a better option presents itself, which I don't think there will be, I'm fine letting him rock the DH, and then maybe play a little infield here and there if he wants to. I don't know. Do you have any?
No, I do too, and it kind of provides some cushion for Cole Young then too, if he does
Yes.
need a breather. Because that is one of the tough things that can happen for young players is when they start to see pitchers making adjustments to them at the big league level. Um, just running them out there continually to fail over and over again can sometimes be really detrimental to their development. And like, I love that they are giving him time right now to just take a step back, look at film, take some cuts, make some adjustments, and then try to run it back out there and see if he can make those adjustments. So I like having that insurance policy. He seems like the type of guy that gets comfortable. He was in Minnesota for forever. This is only the second team he's ever been on in his
Yeah.
career. It was a tough adjustment for him, I think, at first, because he had only been in one place his entire career. Um, so he strikes me as the kind of guy that now that he's comfortable here, that would probably be glad to be in one place. He is, how old is he?
I can look it up.
30, 32. He's 32.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. The injury history isn't great, as we know. So
Yeah.
you take that into account, add a couple years onto that number. Um, I think having him back next year would be great. I don't know how much longer beyond that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I right out the. I mean, $6 million isn't horrible. Given what you've seen from him this year, it's another guy, a
Yeah.
veteran that, has been in the league. You're not running out a guy that you're unfamiliar with,
Mhm.
you know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd take it. Obviously we have to get through the season. Who knows what free
Yeah.
agency will present, what
And who
trades
knows
might
what they
present.
do with like Josh Naylor and Gino? Like,
Yeah.
I sure hope they try to extend Josh Naylor, but I don't know where their money is going to end up going.
It
It'll,
also how far they go,
yeah,
if they go deep, ownership might say, "Hey, this is great.
yeah.
Bring him back. Let's do
So
it again." If
here's some allowance for making
yes,
the postseason.
run along. Nintendo said you can have some money. Super Mario did well. The Switch 2 and a tariff money. Yeah. If
Oh,
if they flame the fuck out, mm,
yeah.
um, so yeah, I also will say this because, on the topic of ownership, which is one thing. Um, there was a popular University of Washington football reporter that's, during the 4-game losing streak tweeted that the Mariners might quietly be for sale. Talk
Yeah,
to some
what was
people.
that all about? I was not on the internet enough, and I just now saw that, I think today. Can you fill me in?
That's total horseshit.
Okay.
I don't, I don't think, I don't want to disparage um, the person because, they do great work on the Husky side of things, but it's
Where would they have even gotten that information?
I don't know because I've been around them like when we're waiting for things and I hear them talk about the Mariners and they just generally don't know what they're talking about. So if you don't know what you're talking about with the actual team day to day, I don't
Yeah.
think you know anything about the ownership. So this is where I can come in and say, hey, as someone who actually is in both areas, I think this is just someone who, knows how to stoke fire and is trying to stoke fire. Um, I just don't, yeah.
Got to make
Um,
that paycheck somehow.
I think if someone knew something about it, it'd be like Divish or Kramer, like or even the big nationals, not this. So, yeah, I don't buy into that at all. That's
No.
small. I don't want to go anywhere with that because it was nothing. It was a non-story. Um, Jorge Polanco. Yeah, Brittany, we've kind of been running here.
Mhm.
Is there anything before we look at this homestand that you want to bring up?
No, I
Ooh,
would
well,
love to see a
anything?
little more leadership from
Sure.
some guys stepping up. Um, Granted, we don't know what's happening in the clubhouse. They had an hour-long meeting.
Yep.
We don't know what happened in Tampa Bay, right? It was like an hour team-only meeting or something.
Something. It
And they
prevented a
came
lot of
out and
guys
laid an
from.
egg. I have no idea if that means it was effective or ineffective meeting. Like, but I just like I love the moments where I see Cal like taking leadership out, on the mound. Like, hey, lock the F in here. I
You
think that
don't
happened with
fucking
Bryce the
shake
other day.
me.
Yeah, yeah. And um, I know JP's scuffling, but he still carries some weight in that clubhouse. So I'd love to see a little bit of fire from him.
Sure.
That's all I've got.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. And, I think where I would go with that is I'm interested to see where it is with the rotation, you know, which guys say,
Yeah,
hey,
what a
enough
mess.
is enough. You got Brian Wu going tomorrow. Looking at the probables here versus Mikolas. Doesn't look like, just purely looking at basic numbers,
Hmm.
the Cardinals pitching is too fantastical. Um, I always find like chuckle when I see Matthew Liberatore because I remember him being like this somewhat decent prospect, and then he's just been kind of all right. Um, Ooh, maybe not even all right. I mean, he's having his best career year, but his best career year right now is a 415
Not great.
average and a 130 whip.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Brian Wu, he's having his best year. He's showing longevity. Touch wood.
I know, for
Um,
real.
you don't think he wants to pitch in the fucking playoffs,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Uh,
I loved that fire. Speaking of like leadership and fire, I love that fire from him after he got out of that jam. I can't remember which game it was. Was it in Tampa? Must have been in Tampa. And there's a shot of him um, going through the dugout, and he was like amped up and he was yelling. He was hollering. I like it. Hell yeah. Let's get
there's a
some fire
guy.
from your starters, right? Like, I
Yeah.
want to see
Well, and that's
Logan go out there and be freaking Walter and come in the dugout yelling and fired
the
up. I know he's not 100%. I know he doesn't feel great, but like, shoot, let's fake it till we make it, buddy.
the like this series and the probables is what I'm going to look for in that regard, especially because these three guys could be the future of your rotation going forward. And Wu, Kirby, Gilbert. I know the two latter guys are dealing with stuff. Their years haven't gone how they've wanted to, both in terms of injury and actual performance. George Kirby's pitched in the postseason. He knows what it takes. He knows what it feels like. I think about, I'm using a football reference here, but there's a great speech before the first Super Bowl. The Giants beat the Patriot. No, I think it was the second one, where Justin Tuck was talking to some of his D linemen. He's like, about a Super Bowl ring. He's like, I know what it feels like. You don't. Logan Gilbert doesn't know what it feels like to pitch in the postseason. Brian Wu doesn't. You don't think those two guys are motivated to get there? I know George wants to get back there. You know, all he talks about is winning and wanting to win. All these guys ever talk about this group. Cal doesn't want to talk about himself. He wants to talk about the team winning.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is I don't know in terms of extensions or anything. But this could be this series, and I'm not saying this is not going to have as much weight as the Houston series, but you get what I'm saying with Brian Wu, George Kirby, and Logan Gilbert. These are your young starters who have done historical things.
Yeah.
Like, let's start this homestand right.
Yep.
Get fucking rolling. Like
Yeah. And Curb's
you,
got to
you
bounce
saw,
back too. Like I get it. I know he's an emotional guy. I can have a tolerance for it to a level, but like he's got to bounce back now. That can't eat at him. He can't hold on to it.
yeah,
I like that's going to be really important for me to see is a good outing from him here.
he's such
Um
an interesting guy.
he is different. I know that. Yeah, I get it. And um sometimes that bothers me. I sometimes I wish he could keep his emotions more in check. And also sometimes I really want a psycho on the mound, right? Sometimes you want a psychopath on the mound and he can be
Yeah,
that psychopath, but he needs to figure out how to harness his energy for good and not let his
yeah,
emotions get the best of him when
be in
he's
control of it.
yeah, totally. So I'm really going to be paying attention to his next outing.
Yeah, I mean, again, these guys can all set the tone to start this series, and this could be a big inflection point. You want these two games in Atlanta, the series win in Atlanta, which, if I saw the Roku broadcast correctly, it said the first road series win since the All-Star break.
Yes.
That's rough.
That's wild.
Um,
Since Detroit, it was the last Road Series win.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's so
Anyways,
bad.
turn this into an actual turning point
Yeah.
and not a blip, right? So.
Yep.
Yeah. We look at it here. I mentioned the probables. Mikolas Wu on Monday, Liberator Kirby on Tuesday, Michael McGreevy, don't have any idea who this is, versus Logan Gilbert on Wednesday. They're all night games. There's no Wednesday day game in here. Oh, okay. He's a child. He's 25. All right, got it.
Hmm.
Yeah, all 640 starts. Logan Gilbert Funko Pop giveaways on all 3 days. So if you would like a small Logan, not up to actual size,
Yeah.
for
Do
the
you think it looks like
10,000,
him? Am I the only one that looked at the Funko Pop and was like, if I didn't know that was Logan, I would have a hard time identifying it? Is that
you
just me?
know, if I take away the fact that I know it's Logan, it could be Danny Farquhar. with the
Totally.
hair in the
It totally
sleeves.
could. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
I was like, huh, there's something was missing for me. I don't know.
sure. Well, it's tough with Funkos because you don't really do the face on those. Um, and you
Sure.
can't like with Logan, he's just so tall, but you can't really make him taller in the
Yeah.
And then it's a weird four gamer against the Angels starting on Thursday, 6:40 on Thursday. Value game there. Hispanic Heritage Night on Friday, 7:10 start. Fan Appreciation Night is the 13th against the Angels on Saturday. Everybody, no, the first 30,000 attendants get a $5 Starbucks gift card. Um, Interesting. And then
Hilarious.
Sunday is Super Mario X Mariners Day. The first $15,000 get a special Mariners X Super Mario branded giveaway hat. Um,
Mamma mia.
they wanted to, yeah, hopefully we're not saying that on Sunday.
Yeah, God.
Hopefully it's all good stuff and not we're not using Nintendo puns. Um, I do think it's interesting, and I get it, but I think it's interesting doing Fan Appreciation Day, the homestand before like potentially shit gets real. Um, you know, so I don't know. We'll see. It's getting to that important time, so we'll see how much I've actually chopped up Brittany and Jake in here. Who
Oh,
knows
it's gonna
if
be hilarious. I
Jake
don't know
will
how to do
actually
this.
be talking about baseball or if he'll be trying to give me historical lessons about what happened in the Pantheon.
We just
Um,
need a segment that's just history with Jake, and then we can just give him like a corner box and just let him yap.
it's
That's so good.
corner box makes it even better. Well, yeah. Until we see you next time. By then, they get the off day after the Angels series to go to Kansas City and play the Royals for three.
See you
Um,
there.
yeah, like maybe you need to bring your own Etsy witch and like put
I will
Mariners
be.
Juju in
Yeah.
the Kauffman Stadium fountains.
Yes.
Um,
I will be doing that.
so yeah, till we see you next time. Take care of yourselves, be well, do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how about the Zebs?
Oh, I'm excited.
I know. Where are you going to watch all those away games, though?
Away games. Huh. I was thinking of coming here since, after all, Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports.
I love that idea. Hope to see y'all here.